So, good morning, class. We begin with the Great Indian Desert, one of the physical features of the chapter in geography, our country, India. The Great Indian Desert, or the other name of this is the Thar Desert. Okay, so we will be doing Thar Desert now. All eyes in the books. Please pay attention. We begin now. The Great Indian Desert. The Thar Desert, also known as the Great Indian Desert, is sandy and dry. Sand dunes are found in desert, which are like the hills of sand. They keep changing their shape on account of the action of winds. Due to lack of water and dry sands, very little vegetation is found in the Indian desert. There are few towns in the desert because of less water. The Indira Gandhi Canal carries water from the river Satluj to the northern parts of the desert, which helps a lot in converting that part into green area. So please, out here, you will be marking Indira Gandhi Canal, which has been built up over the river Satluj. Okay, and now since it's a desert area, basically it is covered with sand, and sand dunes are the action of sand getting accumulated because of the action of the wind. Okay, just as the wind flows, it assembles sand. You can see in the picture the various sand dunes. Now, Indira Gandhi Canal has watered this area, okay, in abundance, and the northern part of Rajasthan, basically, or the Great Indian Desert, is now having, it's converting into green area because of the Indira Gandhi Canal. And the Indira Gandhi Canal gets water from which river? Satluj River. Now, what is a canal? It's a man-made structure through which a passage is made so that the water of a river could be diverted to the place where they want it to reach. Okay, so because of sandy and scarcity of water, the desert area is very dry with very little vegetation. And the, what do you call it, the places around have very less vegetation and population. Clear? But with the building of Indira Gandhi Canal, the northern Rajasthan has been watered and the desert has now converted that part into a greener area. Okay. Now, next we come on to the Peninsula Plateau region. Okay. Now, the Peninsula Plateau lies to the south of the northern plains. The Peninsula Plateau has two distinct parts, the Malwa and the Deccan Plateau. Now, the Malwa Plateau. Now, before we go on, let us first tell you the place. This area, this triangular piece of land is a plateau area. Okay. Here you have the mountains, the Himalayas. Here you have the plains, the northern plains. This area is the Great Indian Desert or the Thar Desert. Now, the area next to the desert this side and plains this side is a raised peninsular structure. That means it's a triangular piece of land. It is risen, and that area is called the Plateau region. Now, Plateau region has been divided into two parts. One is the Malwa Plateau region, this region above the Narmada River, and then this region is called the Deccan Plateau region. Okay, so let us read about the Malwa Plateau. The Malwa Plateau, the northern part of the Peninsula Plateau, bounded by the Aravalli ranges in the west and the Vindhya and Satpura ranges in the south, is called the Malwa Plateau. Please know the location and the hills. Now, here you have the Aravalli Hills. Here. So, Aravalli Hills in the west and Vindhya and Satpura ranges. These are the two Vindhya and Satpura ranges, and between them lies the Malwa Plateau. Okay, here are the Aravalli Hills. Here are the Vindhya and the Satpura ranges. And in between this area is the Malwa Plateau region. Clear? Below the Satpura ranges, we have the Deccan Plateau. Let us see the Deccan Plateau also in detail. The Deccan Plateau lies to the south of the Vindhya and Satpura ranges. The Deccan Plateau is bounded by hills on the west and east. The western hills are collectively called the Western Ghats or the Shyadris. The Western Ghats include Satmala and Nilgiris and Anamalai and the Cardamom Hills. Please just go through it. This part is the Deccan Plateau. On the western side, this side, there are Anamalai Hills. Then there are Nilgiri Hills. Can you see here Nilgiri Hills? They are together known, all this is together known as Western Ghats. And it has many hills here. Okay. Santhala. Can you see Santhala Hills? Okay. Then here are the Nilgiris. Then there are others also. Satmala, sorry, Shyadris. The Western Ghats are also known as Shyadris. This is the Western Ghat. This is also known as Shyadris. Then there are various hills here, and the names are Satmala, Nilgiris, and Anamalai Cardamom. So Satmala is here, Nilgiri is here, Cardamom, can you see? Otherwise, you can locate them, and Anamalai also. Okay, so these are the Western Ghats which are surrounded by hills. Okay, then we have the eastern hills lying along the eastern coastal plains from north to south are collectively called the Eastern Ghats. The longest east-flowing river, Godavari, is known as the Ganga of the South or Dakshin Ganga. The other major rivers flowing into Bay of Bengal are Mahanadi, Krishna, and Kaveri. So here on the eastern side, this side, are known as Eastern Ghats, and major rivers flow from here. There's one big river called Godavari, which is also known as the Ganga of the South or Dakshin Ganga. Okay. Then the other rivers are Mahanadi, Krishna, and Kaveri. They also, Mahanadi, Krishna, and Kaveri, they flow and fall into Bay of Bengal area here. Okay. So this is the Deccan Plateau region we talked of just now. Is this much clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So we stop here for today. Now we are only left with the. Good morning, class. We are doing our country, India. We are doing the various physical features. We have covered till Peninsula Plateau, where we talked of Malwa Plateau and the Deccan Plateau. Okay. Now we come on to the coastal plain. Now the coastal plains are of two types. They are divided into two parts, the western coastal plains and the eastern coastal plains. Now, when we talk of western coastal plains, we tell that the western coastal plain is the line of coastal plain that lies between the Arabian Sea and the Western Ghats. Now, I would like to show you the area which is considered as the Western Ghat and the Eastern Ghat. Just a second. Can you all see the book? Is the book visible? Okay, just see here. Now, area lying
Yes,
to
ma'am.
the west is the Western Ghats, and area in the east is the Eastern Ghats. So they are telling you that area which is lying between the Arabian Sea and the Western Ghats, this area is the Western coastal plain. Coast, that means the line which is touching the sea. So this is the Western coastal plain. Okay, so here we go. Now, only the rivers like Narmada and Tapi flow through the western coastal plains and make estuaries. The northern part of the plain is known as the Konkan Coast, and the southern part is known as the Malabar Coast. Please see here, they are telling you that only two rivers they drain here in the Arabian Sea. One is Narmada and the other is Tapi. And the areas are also somewhere here only. Clear? Which where I've marked. Can you see these two rivers which I've marked? So Narmada flows from here and falls into Arabian Sea, and so does Tapi. Then they are also telling you that the northern part, that means this is north, this is south. Northern part of Western Ghats is known as Konkan. What is it known as? Konkan. So it is Konkan Coast, and here it is known as the Malabar Coast. Okay, this lower area towards the south is known as the Malabar Coast. The area up here in the Western Ghats is known as the Konkan Coast. Okay, in the Malabar Coast, the coastline is broken and indented. Now, here in the Malabar Coast, the coastline is broken. It is very like something like this. It is broken like this. Okay, it indented. Dents पड़े हुए हैं उसमें, हाँ? Which has given rise to many lagoons and natural harbors. Here, number of lagoons are there, and it's a place of natural harbor. Okay, that means the ships are parked here. The region is extremely beautiful. The coconut trees, along with lagoons and the backwaters, provide a picturesque scenery. So the scenery is also very picturesque, and there are backwaters. Now, what are backwaters and lagoons? Any idea? Lagoon is a shallow area where salt water is separated from the sea by a sandbar. That means as you all know that ocean has a lot of salty water. So once it comes here, it gets trapped in these indented coastlines, forming shallow water schemes, and those are lagoons. Okay, it's a place of salty area. It's a salty water which is separated from the main sea. Okay, still it is very shallow. ज़्यादा deep नहीं होता है. ठीक है? So that is a lagoon. Now they are also talking about backwaters. Now what is backwaters? Backwaters are the water which comes, like supposing this is a sea, it hits the coast, and some of it seeps in. Some of it seeps in. Though it goes back, but it seeps in a form of a river. And these rivers are formed by the backwaters. That means जो आता वापस आता हुआ पानी है उससे बनते हैं ये rivers. So there are a lot of backwaters also in which give it a very picturesque and beautiful scenery all around. Then we talk of eastern coastal plains. This area we talk of eastern coastal plains. Can you all see my screen? Is it visible? So
Yes,
here,
ma'am.
thank you for telling. Now, this plain lies between the Eastern Ghats and Bay of Bengal. Now, see, this is Bay of Bengal and Eastern Ghats. These are the Ghats here. Between these areas, the darker blue line is the Eastern coast. Okay, Eastern coast. And it's a plain area, so it's an Eastern coastal plain. Now, this is border as compared to the Western coastal plain, broader. Sorry, compared to the Western coastal plains. So Western coastal plains are not that broad; they are broader. ये ज़्यादा broad हैं, ठीक है? चौड़े हैं, ठीक है? Numerous rivers like Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri, etc. make deltas on the eastern coastal plain and drain their water into the Bay of Bengal. Now, many rivers, beginning from here, Mahanadi, then Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri, all these rivers, they begin from here and they fall into Bay of Bengal. So once these rivers are falling into Bay of Bengal, they are providing a good delta region here. Delta means something which is draining out. Before draining, it is forming some subpaths which make these triangular piece of land very, very fertile. Okay. Once the land is fertile, you know that the crops could be grown here easily. So forming delta and then draining into Bay of Bengal. Now, the southern part of the plain is known as the Coromandel Coast, and the northern part is known as Northern Sircars. Now, here also it is divided into two parts. The northern part, this side is known as Northern Sircars, and this part is known as Coromandel Coast. Okay, northern part is known as Northern Sircars, southern part is known as, come on, southern part is known as Coromandel Coast. Just as in the Western Ghats, the northern part is known as Konkan Coast and the southern part is known as Malabar Coast. So let us revise it. Konkan Coast, Malabar Coast, Northern Sircars and Coromandel Coast. Will you remember these terms? Now we come on to the islands. This is one island, Andaman and Nicobar, and these are Lakshyadeep Islands. So let us see. There are two island groups formed in India, and they are the Andaman and Nicobar Islands in the Bay of Bengal. You can see it. They are in Bay of Bengal, and the Lakshyadeep Islands in the Arabian Sea. You can see here. Okay. Now these are of coral origin, located off the coast of Kerala. Now, here is Kerala, and next to it are the Lakshadweep Islands, and they are basically the coral islands. That means a lot of shells and seashells are found here. Okay, then these are coral origin located in the coast of Kerala. Sorry, the Andaman and the Nicobar Islands are separated by a wide channel called the 10-degree channel. Now, the area between this to this Andaman and Nicobar, it is separated by a small little channel of, a line which is known as 10-degree channel. Okay, it is separated by it. Okay, all the physical
Yes,
divisions of
ma'am.
India, though different in structure, still form a single geographical unit as they are interdependent. The northern plains, which are rich in agriculture, provide food for the population, while the Peninsula Plateau is rich in minerals and provides industrial raw material. The mountains ensure the perennial flow of water to the country and help in agriculture. There's a great deal of interaction between the different regions of India, which promotes cultural unity. So now they're telling you about the physical features and why they are very nicely blended in India. Now they are telling you about the northern mountains. They are saying that these northern mountains are a constant source of water supply because there are these snow-covered mountains are as the snow melts, they provide water to the rivers, and thus the northern mountains are a source of water supply in the country. Then the plains are the fertile regions and they provide a field for agriculture. That means food supply is managed from here. So are the food supplies managed from the plains here in the western and eastern Ghats. Then the plateau region, it is rich in minerals and that gives a lot of raw material for various industries to grow and flourish in India. Clear? So this also helps in making the balance in the country and thus it is an integral part of the country, making it as one whole, a united nation. Okay? One country as a whole. And it turns out to be a very important feature for our country to flourish and do well. Okay? Is this much clear to
Okay,
each
ma'am.
one of you? Is this much clear to each one of you?
Yes, ma'am.